Gandhi felt that his mission in South Africa was over. He had spent 21 years there, sharing to the full the joys and sorrows of human experience, and had realized his vocation in life. He sailed for England on July 18, 1914, along with Kasturbai, on his way back to India. Seeking his own hermitage in an atmosphere of renunciation and service, Gandhi founded the Satyagraha Ashram at Kochrab near Ahmedabad on May 25th, with 25 inmates bound by vows of truth and celibacy, non-violence and non-possession, Swadeshi, Khadi, and the removal of untouchability. In 1917, Gandhi found a congenial task in the service of the oppressed peasants on the indigo plantation of Champaran in North Bihar. His arrival for investigation into their grievances roused new hopes in the peasants, and they thronged to him to tell their woes. The compulsory growing of indigo was abolished on the recommendation of the Inquiry Committee. The century-old stain of indigo was washed away, and the country had its first object lesson in individual civil disobedience. In the middle of 1917, on the outbreak of the plague in Kochrab village, Gandhi shifted his ashram to the bank of the river Sabarmati. Amidst the neem and tamarind trees was situated Gandhi's bare hut, Hirday Kunj, along with the simple dwellings of the inmates. Life at the ashram gave full play to the emotion and intellect of the residents. Gandhi arrived in Bombay for medical treatment as hard work coupled with uncooked food had ruined his health. His refusal to take medicine and the vow not to take milk came in the way of his recovery. He yielded to Kasturbai's suggestion that he should take goat's milk. During the convalescent period at Mani Bhavan, he learnt and practiced spinning, and the wheel hummed merrily in his room, spinning peace, goodwill, and love in every revolution. On his sickbed, Gandhi was roused by the publication of the notorious Rowlatt Bills in February 1919, which sought to crush the civic rights of Indians and to gag the voice of revolt. A wave of anger greeted the bills all over India. In spite of the united opposition of all elected Indian members, on March 18, the black bills were pushed through and became law. On Sunday, April 13th, Brigadier General Dyer marched with his armed force through the tortuous, torrid streets and mazy lanes of Amritsar. He ordered the troops to fire upon the seething mass of humanity gathered for a peaceful meeting. The firing continued till the ammunition was exhausted, killing 375 and injuring over 1,000 helpless men and women. Gandhi identified himself with the Muslims when they launched the Khilafat agitation against the unjust peace terms imposed on Turkey by Britain. The Khilafat movement adopted Gandhi's doctrine of non-violent non-cooperation as an infallible remedy. On July 31st, he inaugurated the campaign for the boycott of foreign cloth by kindling an immense bonfire in Bombay, not out of racial hatred, but as a sign of India's determination to break with the past. Here in Madurai, he decided to discard his cap and vest, realizing that the millions were too poor to replace the discarded foreign clothes. On the morning of September 21st, his head was shaved and he wrapped a piece of khadar around his loins. Thus he resolutely took to the loincloth. The Congress again proclaimed its faith in civil disobedience as a weapon equally effective and more human than armed rebellion, and delegated its powers to Gandhi as its sole executive authority. Gandhi informed the Viceroy that Bardoli Taluka in Gujarat was to be the first unit of non-violent mass revolt. But on February 5, 1922, on the outbreak of violence at Chauri Chaura in the district of Gorakhpur, taking the sins of the people upon himself, Gandhi made a confession. God spoke clearly through Chauri Chaura. Mob violence, even in answer to grave provocation, is a bad augury. He suspended the intended mass civil disobedience in Bardoli and imposed on himself a 5-day fast as a penance. On March 10th, when Gandhi was about to retire, the police party arrived in the ashram to arrest him. At noon, March 18th, the great trial began at Circuit House, Ahmedabad. Gandhi was indicted on 3 seditious articles published in Young India. Accused Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, aged 53, describing himself as a farmer and weaver by profession, spoke in his own defense and pleaded guilty to the charge. The most epic event of modern times ended quickly. Gandhi was sentenced to 6 years' simple imprisonment. On February 4th, the government remitted the unexpired portion of Gandhi's sentence and released him unconditionally. The 39th session of the Indian National Congress was held at Belgaum on December 26, 1924, with Gandhi as the president. He induced the Congress to accept the spinning franchise, making labor in the form of a contribution of self-spun yarn as an alternative to 4-anna membership. Gandhi regarded untouchability as a fiendish sin. Anything that is prejudicial to the welfare of the nation is untouchable, but no human being can be so. Political tension was mounting. A rude awakening came on April 8th, when Bhagat Singh and Batukeshwar Dutt dropped 2 bombs in the Central Assembly as a protest on behalf of those who had no other means left to give expression to their heart-rending agony. The 45th session of the Indian National Congress met on the banks of the Ravi on the outskirts of Lahore. At the stroke of midnight on December 31st, 1929, Gandhi's historic resolution on independence and the action to be taken was passed. He published an 11-point manifesto stressing that total prohibition, reduction of the land revenue, and the military expenditure, and the abolition of the salt tax were the vital needs of the people. In a letter to the Viceroy, he announced his intention: if my letter makes no appeal to your heart, on the 11th day of this month, I shall proceed to disregard the provisions of the salt law. On March 12th, with the coming of daylight, India's soul was awake. The great march for liberty began. Gandhi started on his 241-mile-long trek from the ashram to Dandi, a village on the sea coast, along with his chosen band of 78 ashram inmates. Daily, Gandhi tramped about 10 miles. After a 241-mile-long trek lasting for 24 days, the pilgrims reached the promised land on the morning of April 5th. On April 6th, after the dip into the sea, walking at a slow pace in solemnity, Gandhi picked up a lump of natural salt on the seashore, and the nefarious monopoly was broken. This was the signal for which the nation had been long waiting. There were numerous prosecutions, more numerous arrests, far more numerous detentions, forcible seizures of salt, and brutal and savage assaults on the people. India was in full revolt. Scores of members resigned from the legislature. The Congress committees were declared illegal. The police began mass arrests. India became a vast prison house, and yet the government failed to bend the people. On February 17th, the half-naked fakir, as Winston Churchill called Gandhi, went to the Viceroy's house to parley with the representative of the King Emperor. After 8 meetings spread over 3 weeks, the Gandhi-Irwin Pact was signed on March 5th, 1931. The settlement was provisional and conditional. The vital question of the objective of independence remained. It is not wise to say which is the victorious party, remarked Gandhi. The prison gates opened. Thousands of civil disobedience prisoners were discharged and welcomed by the people. Despite Gandhi's desperate pleading, Bhagat Singh, Rajguru and Sukhdev were executed on the eve of the Karachi Congress. The Karachi Congress, convened under the shadow of Bhagat Singh's execution, truly represented the temper of the country at the moment. As Gandhi arrived, the demonstrators greeted him with black flags and shouts of "Down with Gandhiism" and "Long live Bhagat Singh." Gandhi received them sweetly and smilingly accepted the black flowers, and their indignation completely subsided. The Congress ratified the Gandhi-Irwin Agreement and appointed Gandhi as the sole Congress representative at the Roundtable Conference.